For all of you who listen to Submersion and own an Android device, go to the Google Play Store and download the Podcast Republic app. It's a fantastic app that allows you to get all of your favorite podcasts directly on your Android device. I personally use the app and I love it. I can search for the podcast I want to listen to, select it as a favorite, and have it just a click away. Make sure you select Submersion as a favorite so you don't miss any of our new episodes every Thursday. Again, the app is the Podcast Republic app, available on Android devices.
Okay.
Somebody just woof.
I think that was Bubbles.
Episode 98.
Woo!
We're in it to win it.
We are in it to win it. We are inching ever closer to episode 100.
Episode C, right?
Episode C. Things are going crazy right now.
That's true.
Yep.
But just so you're aware, we are not all in a room together. We do not podcast in the same room. So we are maintaining our social distances.
It's true.
And not spreading the coronavirus.
The podcast was literally built for this.
Yep.
I had a super friend message me, no joke, and said, please continue to deliver the quality content he knows and loves. And I said, we will try. We will try.
That's what we're here for. People need us in these trying times.
In fact, I'm going to promise that we're going to be releasing an episode every day for the next 8 weeks.
Whoa.
Hold on.
Wait, what? No? Okay.
Now, I have a bolder comment that's a little bit jazzier and snappier than that. I say we do a 24-hour live stream.
Wow.
I feel like everyone I've ever heard talk about their 24-hour live stream say they always regret it and it totally sucked ass.
So you're in.
Yeah, but they're not us, right?
I'm totally
It'll be different for us. It'll be different for us.
Yeah. We're going to make it different. We're going to make it not suck.
Right. We're just going to play Phantom on a loop for 24 hours.
In fact, we're going to do 36 hours.
That's a lot of Phantom.
But it's going to be worth it.
That's a lot of nuts.
Good allusion to a fantastic movie that unfortunately doesn't have a sub. But it does have tonguey.
And it does have Kung Fu.
Were you going to say coronavirus?
I was going to say karate, but then I think that's wrong. It's probably Kung Fu.
I don't know.
Zach, you're an expert on this film since I showed it to you in college.
Is there a question? Or was that just a statement?
That's it.
Okay, yes, Kyle, I am. Thank you.
Zach, the expert on Kung Pao, Enter the Fist.
I do love that movie.
It is pretty darn good. And I don't know where we're really going, guys.
Yeah, I know. I think we just dive.
What began as an innocent conversation among friends would soon spiral out of control and later be referred to by future generations as the eighth wonder of the modern world. Mac East Studios takes you on the journey of your lifetime as your captains Alex the Mustard Man, the artist formerly known as Brom, Jamie the Ointment, Kyle El Capitan, and Zach the Backbone present Submersion.
I missed the Godzilla music.
Well, we can put it in there every once in a while, or we can find a micropod with like Godzilla animated film or something like that.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, but that's not what That's not what we watched this time.
Go Von Sydow. Go Von Sydow. Go Von Sydow. Go Von Sydow.
Yeah, rest in peace. Just passed away.
I know we talked about him last week, I believe, too. He was part of your Phantom Zone, and then he perished.
Yeah.
In the depths below?
No. I think a much more conventional death of old age, but never retired from acting. Acted till his final days there. I think this was his last or second to last movie.
Being vague, what is this movie that we're talking about, Brom?
Alex, why don't you tell us, what did we watch this week?
Yeah, we watched The Command, also known as Kursk.
Great, thanks, Alex.
Hey, Alex, welcome to... How you doing tonight, man?
Guess you could say I've got a case of the...
Mondays?
Virus.
Oh.
I was going to say the Muppets, maybe? You sound a little bit like a Muppet, but...
Okay. We watched The Command, 2018 film. I think it's...
Whoa.
What?
Released in 2019, though.
Released in 2019. I heard somewhere that it has the alternate title of Kursk, which kind of threw me. I thought there was already another movie called Kursk.
Was it like a documentary or something named Kursk? Was there actually another movie?
Not sure, but I saw an attribution to Max von Sydow as being in the movie Kursk from 2019. And I'm like, okay. And if you actually do look on IMDb, the videos attributed to this movie are attributed to a movie called Kursk. So I guess it is an alternate title.
Yes.
That said, it starred Matthias Schoenaerts. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Definitely not.
How do you pronounce it?
No, I don't know, but that's definitely not right.
Are you just assuming it's probably not right? Because there's a million different ways it could be pronounced. Yeah.
Yes,
I would wager against it. I'll also wager against my pronunciation of Léa Seydoux, although I've seen her a lot. She is a beautiful actress, rising star in talent. I think I saw her recently in the newest Mission Impossible, or maybe the one before that. I can't remember.
Yeah. And let me tell you, for a lot of movies, get those glasses handy, my friends.
Are you trying to like blue is the warmest color?
Yes, I am. That's what I'm referring to.
Okay. She kept her clothes on in this one.
And in Mission Impossible, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also starred Max von Sydow, and then some really pretty star-studded talent here. Colin Firth, who played Commodore David Russell in this movie. So actually some pretty good, strong support in this one. And yeah, you guys got anything to add here?
I don't think so. I think it was something that had come out like a while ago, but it's a 2019 American release on Netflix now. So really, anyone who's got Netflix can check it out. But we've been waiting very patiently for this. I feel like we've talked about it or heard about it for a long time, and now it's finally here.
We have known about it. It's been in our radar, in our sonar for a while.
I did have one thing to mention, because usually what I do is I copy Wikipedia page synopses into it just to like remind myself. So I went to the Wikipedia page. I don't know, did anyone else do this to look at like what they talk about?
No. I write my own notes, Jamie.
Okay. Well, anyways, this is the entire synopsis off of Wikipedia. This is a synopsis for a film, by the way. 118 Russian sailors died during the 2000 K-141 Kursk submarine disaster. The Kursk sank during a Russian naval exercise in the Barents Sea after explosions within the submarine. 23 sailors survived the crash and desperately waited for help to arrive while their oxygen ran out. The Russian government refused help from foreign governments for 5 days before agreeing to aid from the British and Norwegian governments. In the movie, the 23 sailors who survived the initial blast survived for an extended period, while 3 rescue attempts by the Russian Navy fail. In reality, all the sailors died within 8 hours of the blast, thus before the first rescue attempt. That's the
whole synopsis of the movie?
That's the synopsis of this movie, which is more or less
sounds like more the synopsis of the real situation.
It's like a fact check, and that's it. And I'm wondering if maybe the Russian internet denizens, let's say, are vigilantly keeping the synopsis at a minimum.
Ooh, a little conspiracy theory, my friend. I am digging it.
Get some tinfoil hats ready, because that's what I'm thinking.
Well, while we're all quarantined, we can go and try to update this movie and see if it'll stay.
Oh, that's a great idea. That's a whole podcast. I still have a whole series where we try to change it. And then we get targeted by Russian hackers.
We're combating the Russians online.
Yeah.
Wikipedia movie descriptions. I like it. It's good.
But I thought that was very strange. So I copied it down so I could read it. because it's real weird. All right, should I get into it then?
Yes, it is.
Get in
We
there.
should get into it.
All right. The Kursk.
Start with Mikhail trying to drown his son in a bathtub.
Right.
With a game, he says, hold your breath.
Yeah, so we open up and we're like, I'm jazzed for some submarines, submariners. Get me in that submarine. Nope, sorry, we're on land first. And everyone's like, boo, fuck this. But anyways, Mikhail's spending time with his family. His wife's pregnant. He's got this young son. He is jolly as fuck. He loves everything. He loves everyone. He's like, my life is great. They're also about to celebrate the wedding of one of his comrades on the submarine. And so like we jump over to another scene where his friend is getting news that they need more stuff for the wedding. The wedding's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. They want fancier champagnes, fancier stuff for the wedding. And so he's like, oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And he's like, oh, I'll take care of it. So they all go down and they try to haggle with the people who kind of run the stores for the base because they didn't get their checks. The checks are delayed, and so they don't have money. And so they decide, okay, well, what about our special watches we have, our submarine watches? They're super special and everyone loves them. And the guy looks at them and we see them all walking away without any of they've traded all of their watches away in order to get them fancy champagne for this wedding. And so when we jump over, everyone is so happy. They're celebrating. We get kind of introduced to some of our characters. There is, what was kind of the overweight guy's name?
Oleg?
Oleg. So Oleg's hilarious and he's always telling jokes and he's a little overweight. And everyone loves him, and he's there. And we got Mikhail. Then we got a bunch of other people who are also Russian
Rest of the gang
on the submarine, and they're all like palling around with their wives, and they're just having a grand old time. Really, I think it's trying to show just how tight a community this is because they all live kind of in the middle of nowhere in Russia, this place that's really dominated by this submarine base. And that's it. There's like nothing else really there. And so all the families are close. Everyone kind of lives, and it's all about the space and all about the Navy and all about submarines. Even like the parents are talking about how like their son died in a submarine accident and stuff like that. So it's like generations and generations have kind of lived and died with submarines being their entire life. It's kind of like our podcast, really. It's like our sons and daughters will carry on this tradition and really live through us with the submarine podcasting. Right?
And that they should. Take note, kids.
Yeah.
Right now.
Right.
Do it.
And I'll look sadly at the wall at Patrick's picture and be like, Patrick, he died tragically in that submarine podcasting accident. But you know what? We all came together, and the podcasting naval submarine community really like picked us all up. And everyone's like, yeah, that's great. It's a really sad story about Patrick.
It is. It's really sad. So anyway, Mikhail gets really drunk, and then he goes home, and he's like, hey, I know I got my 9-month pregnant wife, and my son's asleep in that bed right there.
Super pregnant.
But why don't I just take you in the next room real quick and little hanky-panky?
Right.
And they do.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like a paper wall between them and the kid.
And then the kid busts through like the Kool-Aid man, and it's like,
yo, what's going on in here? He's like, Mother Russia!
Did anybody else think the space heater was going to like catch the room on fire or something?
Yeah, it's in any other movie that was going to be something that you look at and you're like, oh boy, that's going to burn down this apartment, Manchester by the Sea style. And it's just regular old space heater. But they're also like, oh, I love you forever, and I love you. You're my forever, and you're my love, and blah blah blah. They're like super in love. So anyways, they're going out.
Like, don't die on a submarine accident.
Yeah, try not to die on the submarine.
That's going to happen.
Right. And so they're taking out the Kursk. They basically, I think it's even like the next day, they're all set to go on a mission. And it's kind of explained that the Russian government had stopped for a long time doing big naval exercises. I think partly because of money and just like everything was shrunk after the fall of the Soviet Union. And so they kind of are laughing about how they used to do this every year, this giant naval exercise, and it used to be 3 times bigger, but they're trying to show off a little bit. Kind of the background of this is that Putin had just become president of Russia, and so I think he was trying to bring some of those things back a little bit. And so they're all kind of looking out, and it's like, okay, well, the whole idea is that Kursk is going to go silent, and there's 2 other submarines, and it's going to come in and launch a couple torpedoes and get out of there. And the idea is the naval exercise is to see if they can spot him, and hopefully the Kursk is able to go unseen as part of the exercise. And so
now, I'm not really certain on naval exercises, so maybe I shouldn't even comment on this, but do they usually carry live torpedoes? Is that something you would have in an exercise?
I guess I don't know.
Something with a payload behind it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they don't have a payload, but it's going to cause some kind of explosion or something. I don't know. Because you're right, because one of the things you see right away is that the people on the submarine, and it's kind of interesting to see them all like palling around, and then they have these really like serious official jobs, and they're like going through other things. So one guy is like the reactor guy. Another guy that we met is kind of takes care of the torpedoes, and then Mikhail and Oleg, they're kind of at the back of the boat, and I forget, they're kind of like just checking on things and kind of master the boats or something. I don't know.
Okay. I guess, all right, so I pulled it up, and if they're going to sink a retired, because they do sink target ships or whatever, so I guess you would.
Yeah. So what they have is they have torpedoes, but they also have a particular type of torpedo, which they call like the Fat Lady or something. And it's getting hot. And so like one of the problems is it's very unstable, a torpedo, and it's not really something that, even when I was reading about it, they didn't like to carry it because it was notably kind of iffy on what it could do. It had blown up a couple other times and destroyed other ships and stuff. So like people didn't like carrying them, and it was getting hot, but it was still within like operating temperatures, and so they were already getting kind of nervous. And as they're kind of going, and this is all just a very straightforward exercise, they're going, they kind of mention it's rising slowly, and so we keep on going, and at a certain point, they're getting very close to the point where they'd launch this torpedo, to the point where they even start to move it towards the torpedo tube, and it starts going up really rapidly. And they call up and like, hey, can we just shove this thing in the tube and just like launch it like right now? Like it's like we're getting worried. And the captain's like, what's the temperature? And they tell him, he's like, okay, it's still operating range. Like, don't do anything. And they're all kind of looking at each other like, fuck. And at that moment, blam! Everything, it explodes and obviously kills everyone in that torpedo room. And things are going pretty shitty because like it blows kind of a hole in the submarine.
Yeah.
It's maybe a little understatement probably, but and
they
so
crash into the seabed.
Yes, and they're sitting there.
We've got fire in the sub.
Right, and they've closed off a bunch of the hatches, but things are still looking like semi-okay at that point. Like things have been able to close off, and they can't get the captain or the bridge on, so they're all dead too. But like a bunch of the compartments aft are okay. So a bunch of them are doing like okay at that point. And then there's a giant explosion as the rest of the torpedoes go off. And so everything goes even crazier. And they go all the way back into, what was it, compartment 9 or 7 or something? Or 8?
I think it's 7.
Yeah. So now they're
trapped. And at this point, after all these torpedoes go off, it registers as a seismic event.
Right.
And we cut on over and we are introduced to Colin Firth's character. And he's like, why would there be seismic activity in that area? And then he's able to figure it out because he knows there's an exercise going on. He says, those guys just lost a sub.
Yeah.
Put me through to them immediately.
Yeah, and he knows the kind of head of the Russian Navy, but isn't really getting called back. So there's a lot of political stuff already happening because he's trying to say, like, call this person that he knows in the Russian military. And that person's kind of not yet able to communicate to anyone else because it's obviously a huge national security risk to be like, hey, come over and like check out our sub and help rescue the people off this sub, because there's a lot of secret stuff, particularly the Kursk. They even talk about like the Kursk was like one of the crown jewels. It's like it'd be a huge prize for the British to be able to get on that sub. So it's kind of this like tricky situation. But Colin Firth just wants to help the people on there in case there's people who are still alive.
Maybe. Or maybe that's what he wants us to believe, but he really knows. He's like, I'm looking to make Admiral here.
Yeah, so now we kind of get 4 different stories really going, because back home, the wives hear almost immediately that something has happened. Like, obviously something pretty serious has happened. They are informed of that, and they're looking at the recovery boat, which has the deep sea recovery vehicle, the DSRV, sitting on it, and it's not moving. And they're like, shit, they're dead. So that's like the first thing that they're thinking. The Russian Navy, they have a little kind of underwater drone thing, and they send it down there, but they don't have the sound working. So all they see is just devastation. The whole front of the submarine's blown off, and they're just like, is it possible that anyone's alive? And they're thinking no, but they don't have the sound, so they wouldn't be able to hear the tapping. And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the tapping. And in the meanwhile, in the submarine, they're all trapped in this place. They stop all the leaks and that kind of stuff. It's freezing in there. And so they basically need to keep the power on. Eventually they need to start making, because if they can keep the power on, they don't have to make oxygen by this, like the really dangerous method, like the chemical method. Because there's so much water in the area that it would have the chance of causing explosion to use the chemical method of creating oxygen. So they need to keep the power going. And so that's still going, and they have lights and they have like oxygen being made, and they've stopped the leak. So every hour they kind of tap on the top. And one of the guys is kind of freaking out. He's like, we should just swim up. And they're like, you're fucking kidding me. Cause there's just like, there's just like no way really that they could free dive up there because they die of the bends before anyone could get them.
There's no decompression chamber on the
just no way.
Ships that are above them. And we've kind of seen a character like this in most of the Trapped movies, I would say. This would fit into the
someone who
Trapped
kind of freaks
series.
out. Yeah.
Right, because it's not looking great.
Right.
At all.
So can I ask a question? What would you have done? Would you have free dove up to the surface?
Me? No.
No.
What's the point? You would have died anyway. I would have died. No
I guess
matter
it is
what.
science, yeah. So
I would have just hung out, broken that booze cabinet.
right, I would have pushed.
Obviously you try to stay alive.
I would have shoved Leo out of the way and been like, "Don't let this newbie handle like dangerous chemicals." Lesson 1.
Yeah, I know that was a little odd. That hey, if you even get a drop of water on this thing, it will explode. Okay.
Yeah, have you ever done this? No. Okay, you're in charge. Do it from now on. So anyways, they're like every hour they're tapping on the thing and they're getting super freezing and stuff like that. Eventually they the Russian Navy fixed the sound and they hear the tapping. And so they're super excited.
Very dramatic scene though, because they don't have their watches. They forget to tap on the hour. I'm like,
and
oh,
so
God.
And they have to
They're
stop
dead,
the entire naval exercise so there's no sound from any of the props coming up top.
Yeah. And so they inform the wives back home. And so now they're excited, but they start to get the feeling that they're not being told everything because all they've heard is that there's tapping. The boat's gone off with the DSRV, but then they're being stonewalled every time they go around of hearing anything else. They hear nothing other than, oh, we're trying to rescue them. It's like, well, how many people are alive? Where was the tapping occurring? What is the rescue plan? How many boats are helping? Have you, because like even because he's not getting called back, Colin Firth goes like an other route and makes like a public statement saying, we offer our help. So the wives even see that the Norwegians and the British are available and ready to help with like state-of-the-art equipment. Because it's saying like the Russians have like really old equipment now, fall of the Soviet Union and all that. And so their DSRV is not very good. And here's like these other nations being like, hey, use our really super special, like new ones. And they don't want to do that at that point because it's like a big top secret or whatever. So anyways, they try to go down with this DSRV and everyone's super excited, obviously, in the submarine. They're going to get rescued and it tries to latch on, but it goes on, but can't get a seal. And then it's running out of battery and they have to go back to the surface.
The battery on this thing drains so fast. Yeah. It is out of control. Well,
that's the biggest problem, right? They said, oh, do you have an extra battery? No, they sold it. Do you have anything better? No. Like, blah, blah, blah. Whereas if they had like a better
they sold
DSRV,
it to like some Titanic tour guide crew that they take you down to see the Titanic.
Which made me really intrigued. I was like, wait, really? I can do that? I wouldn't do it, but that sounds actually really amazing to be super rich and go see the Titanic. It's crazy.
And this DSRV that they are using, it's painted like a clownfish.
Yeah.
Like orange and white, and that's actually what it looks like.
Right.
I don't know why they went with that color scheme, but it's what they've got.
So anyways, back on the submarine, they are starting to run out of kind of everything. The lights go off and the generator goes off, so they don't have oxygen being made anymore. And they really don't want to use the chemical means because they don't have the chemical pellets. They'd have to go into another compartment that's like filled with water and get it to be able to do it. And B, it's dangerous. So they'd rather just have the generator going. But eventually they're all starting to, pass out because of how the lack of oxygen in the room. And they're like, okay, finally you have to do it. So Mikhail takes another guy. I'm forgetting his name, kind of a hero of the story, but I don't know his name. And it's like, you're coming with me. And it was pretty amazing. I mean, I guess this is one of those things with being in the military maybe and stuff like that. But Mikhail, who's the leader of the bunch because of his rank, looks at this guy who's just like standing over there and is like, you're coming with me and helping me do this. And it's like the super dangerous thing, and he's just like, okay, and drops stuff and just like starts going to it. I was like, holy shit.
I believe it was Sasha.
Yeah. And I was like, whoa, like I would have been like, but why me? Why can't he go? Like, I don't want to do that. But anyways, they go down and they swim. And part of the problem why he needed another person is that Leo, who is the guy who kind of knew where these things were held, didn't know what locker it was put in. So there's like a whole bank of lockers. So they have to swim down, and they can all hold their breath really long, I guess, because they're submariners, but they swim down.
An insane amount of time.
Yeah. And they swim down. And I guess it's like Tom Cruise, because I don't know if you know this, but Tom Cruise can hold his breath for a really long time.
Is that a fact, or is that just
it's real.
something
Yeah. For some movie, I forget what movie it was, he trained himself to hold his breath for over 5 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. And
what?
so
That's insane.
I don't know
all right, here we go. USA Today, 2015. Cruise can hold his breath underwater for 6 minutes.
6 minutes. Told you. Look at me.
I can do 2 minutes, which I thought was impressive.
No, so like
I
you
guess
can
it's
train.
not that good.
Yeah,
Nope.
You can train yourself to do this stuff. So I think that's what they probably were. They were trained for that kind of diving stuff. So they swim over, and it is legit like 5 minutes of them kind of searching around trying to find this stuff. Sasha starts to have a lot of issues as they try to get back out. They find this stuff, and he basically I was like, oh, he's dead, because he's like breathing in water and all this stuff. And like a goddamn superhero, Mikhail grabs him around the neck, is pulling him all the way through this stuff. Eventually, like, signals like thumbs up to the people on the other side of the door in the compartment he's in. They open the door. They stream out with all this water. They close it again. Sasha's sitting there like, come on, he's dead. Like, what's the big deal? And immediately starts coughing up all the water. He's totally fine. It's like, whoa, like they're heroes. And Mikhail's like a double hero. It's amazing. And anyways, he has these cartridges, and there's 10 cartridges, and they should last them like a pretty long time. And so they start firing them up, and that's when they explain, like, this is actually really dangerous. Like, you can't fuck this up or we're dead. And Leo's like, okay, I got it, but I'm going to fuck it up, right? And he's like, yeah, I know. And then they're telling jokes and stuff. I mean, it's really getting dire, because every time the DSRV goes down, it's the worst, and basically can't latch on. They try it 3 times, and eventually, and at the end, they're like, feign. And so they ask the British and the Norwegians to help out. They've already come over, because the Russian general even said, like, come on over here, but they were still being stopped for one more try of the DSRV. And so,
there was all kinds of press conferences and stuff going on too. Where Russian higher ups were getting grilled by people. They really weren't saying anything.
It's like the most emotional scene of the movie probably was when they're confronted by the wives and about like what's going on.
Yeah, in the press conference.
Yeah.
And so they start grilling them, say, we've got people down there who are dying. You're not telling us anything. And people start getting really fired up. And then they recreate a scene that actually happened, was in the news. It's insane if you watch it, because one of the women is just yelling at them and she just wants answers. Somebody comes up with a hypodermic needle, sticks her, and then like she passes out, and then they take her away. And that actually happened.
Crazy.
And it's on television. It's crazy.
Awesome. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, find the link. We'll put it up. It's really, if you saw something like that in U.S. television, you'd be like, what the heck was that?
So that's Max von Sydow, is like the Russian guy. It's kind of interesting, a small change here from real life, because I believe it was actually Putin who was giving that press conference, I think. And he was like newly elected, or the new leader, which seems kind of crazy that it would be Putin directly talking to the people. But I may be wrong about that. I don't know. I don't check my facts. So anyways, as this is all happening, and as you think they might be able to help them, because finally the Norwegians and the British have their shot, they're kind of, I don't know, they're loosening up. It's everyone's dying. Mikhail writes like kind of a note to his kid and wife and unborn child, and kind of expresses all of his emotions about what's going on with him and how he's pretty sure he's going to die. But they start to like laugh and just try to make it a little light, just because, got to go out laughing or whatever. So they're telling some jokes that they've said before, so these lame jokes or whatever. And you see Leo kind of laughing, and they're all getting drunk too. And he stumbles with the oxygen thing, and an explosion occurs. And basically, a bunch of them dive under the water. But once the explosion has occurred, the oxygen in the room is going to go out. So they get up top out of the water after the explosion. A bunch of them are dead, but they look around and say, how long do we got? It's basically 2 minutes, and they're going to suffocate. And so they spend that time kind of just being like, glad to serve with you and stuff like that.
Yeah, they sing a sea shanty or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And then we see the DSRV get down there, and some divers go out just to make sure that there's even a possibility of anyone in there. And they bang on the door, but it's at that point, it's been so long that it actually filled up with water. So they had been staving off these leaks in that compartment, and they kind of took over after they had all died and filled up the compartment. So then they open it up, they go in, and there's all the dead in there. And so they're able to get out the notes, stuff like that. And that's kind of a true story, actually, as well. He wrote some notes that they were able to give to Mikhail to give to his wife. And how does the movie... the movie ends with the funeral, right? So it's Mikhail's funeral, and she kind of reads these notes and what he wanted to express to them and his unborn child and stuff like that, and about how she needs to keep on living her life and find love and stuff like that. And then Max von Sydow is there, and he's like saluting everyone and wants to give handshakes to like the kids whose parents have died, her fathers have died, and they refuse to shake their hand. And afterwards, everyone's like, good on you to the kids, kind of sticking it to the Russian government.
Right, yeah. They give Misha, is his son's name, they give that guy some love. They say, you really did it. And then Misha, the whole time, he's just staring down Max von Sydow. And at the end of the movie, he's staring off into the ocean. And this is when you know that the Command 2 is going to be called the Command 2 Misha's Revenge.
Right. Set in the year 2075.
Dun, dun, dun.
Water
Max
world
Sydow is now a cyborg.
Yeah.
That's how Max von Sydow actually died. This kid mistook this guy for an actual bad guy and killed him.
Whoa.
Very possible.
Very dark. But I think the guy that bought the Submariner watch off Misha's father, Mikhail, gives it back to the son at the end of the movie. And the son puts it on and the movie ends.
Yeah, I would do that too, because I'd be like, dead man's watch. I ain't wearing this. Right?
You would just throw it in the ocean?
Yeah, just like Rose in the Titanic.
Oh, nice.
Titanic, sorry, not the Titanic. That's a different movie.
That's
probably.
it. Came in under time even.
Wow.
What? See, I'm getting better at this. It's only taking me 100 episodes.
Yeah, it will. We had a couple of those ones where you have to do them really short, so now you're like, oh, let's get this done.
He's learning how to cut the fat.
Yeah. I'm like, forget that character. Who needs her, right? Who needs him? What?
You don't need him at all.
No.
But that's it. That is The Command.
A.K.A. Kursk.
A.K.A. the prequel to The Command 2, Misha's Revenge.
Oh, it's an interesting title they chose. All right, who wants to go first in terms of
like that.
reviews?
Wait, not love it or hate it? Or is that after?
Oh, you can do it. Do love it or hate it.
Love it, hate it, love it, hate it, do it, now.
I want love it first.
Love it. We're going with love it. The Command, 2018, came out in 2019. Love it. This love it review comes from The Riddle 53. This was posted on December 10th, 2019. A simply fantastic movie. I've watched every submarine movie possible.
And
All
this
right,
is
hold on,
right.
right
Yeah.
there. Let's get this guy on. All right, we got to find this guy.
the Riddle 53. If you're out there, we need you.
He's probably watched like 8 submarine movies.
I know. There's just no way he's watched all the submarine movies.
I'm going to finish his review. Can I do that?
No. All right, move on to the Suck It.
Hang on, this won't take much time. I've
Okay.
already said I've watched every submarine movie possible. Now, the rest of what I need to say from the Riddle 53's review is this that I'm about to say. And this is definitely a sleeper movie to watch. That's it. 0 out of 0 found that helpful.
Yeah, I was gonna say he kind of built that up with all his like credentialing, but didn't really work out so great.
I would like to get in contact with the Riddle 53 and just compare lists, I guess, credentials.
You know,
we bring out like Moby Dick 2000. What was that one? 2011 Moby
2010,
Dick.
yeah, 2010.
2010. People be like, "What? What is that movie?"
You know the
Come on.
Riddle 53 though. He's been an IMDb member for 7 years, so he's got some experience. You know, he's seen his fair share of films. If you were,
I do not doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
And he may know something that we don't even know about.
he's created a list. Do you want me to tell you what list he created?
Is it about sub movies?
It's called Kung Fu.
Well. This really brings things full circle.
I think you have to. We should probably save that for season. What season is Kung Fu movies?
39.
Let me make sure. I'll add that if it's not.
All right, that's good. So should we move on to Hate It while Ben does his computer techie stuff?
Sure.
Yeah.
Hate It. This is from Server Master, November 11th, 2019. 1 out of 10. A lot of lies. It's titled.
Russian bot. Good.
Here we go. This man or female or whoever wrote this review, starting with the numeral number 1. And then it goes as follows. Almost all the tripulation of the Kursk died immediately. Okay. The few survivors died in the accidental explosion portrayed in the movie. Okay. But it didn't occur when the great European and American governments offered their kind help. It happened less than 10 hours after the accident. 2. No bad government problem. American or European governments would have made the same. Nuclear subs had state-of-the-art technologies, the most secret advances. Nobody could easily accept risking so much vital information. 3. The Kursk crushed into the soil at a 60-degree angle. It was impossible to achieve the rescue method portrayed in the movie. The Kursk would have been almost horizontal to get it. In the movie, the Kursk is horizontal. It is not true. 4. The Russian rescue subs sold to visit the Titanic had not been sold. They were in the Russian Navy, but they were not used for, now, obvious reasons. 1 out of 5 found that helpful.
Guy sounds like an idiot.
Wow. Casting a stone, Ben.
That was
It-
Server Master.
Server Master hating on this flick.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Who wants to do the first reviews?
I want to hear Kyle.
Kyle, do it.
All right. A while ago, I built a little spreadsheet calculator that factors in certain things, and I haven't used it in a while, maybe because we went into Godzilla movies, and it's hard to apply that with things like sub-action and acting. So I kind of got away from it, but I went back to it for this one. So I think this movie isn't really highly reviewed. The scores aren't great on it. And I don't know if it's just because it's a sad movie and Russia's covering things up and people are like, why would they do that? And there's so much back and forth. But I thought the plot was good, kept me engaged the whole time. I enjoyed it. Sub-action, give that a 10 out of 10 on sub-action. I thought it was really good. Everything that was going on in there. Acting, I thought everybody did a great job. It was kind of odd to have I would call him superstar, Colin Firth, in there playing a supporting type role, but is what it is. The sound I thought was really good. Visually, I really like the way that these new submarine movies are looking. You look at something like Wolf's Call on Black Sea and this now, I think they're able to really get in there and make you feel claustrophobic when you're in the sub. Was this movie enjoyable? I enjoyed it. I was engaged. This wasn't one of those ones where we sit down and I'm just waiting for it to end. I had a good time watching it. And we did have some of our normal things here. Fire in the sub, had wrenches, we had a mini sub, and we had water in the sub. So, taking all those things into account with my little scores that I have given each one of these categories, this movie comes in at an 8.18.
Wow. God, that's a high score.
That's a high score.
I know. Well, I have to let the numbers do the talking.
Wow.
So I sit there afterwards and I'm like, oh, what do I think about this? And I put a number down and
You can't argue with math.
You can't. And so when we get, I think I'd mentioned this before, whenever we get fire, wrench, mini sub, suicide, fish in the water, water in the sub, or depth charge, you automatically get an extra 1/10 of a point.
It's pretty good. Let's go next.
Not me.
Okay, I'll get in here.
Do it.
So I agree with a lot of things that Kyle said. I would add that I thought the cinematography was great, which I guess kind of caters into his point that he was saying they're starting to, these submarine movies are really looking nice nowadays. But they had this looking really nice. I saw that Luc Besson was involved in this film. The musical score was awesome. I loved the sort of castrato sort of choir boy song that they had at the beginning of the movie, and then it sort of set the theme throughout the rest of the film. You could hear it at kind of the most haunting moments of the movie. It reminded me of the Das Boot little song or jingle. Jingle, I guess, definitely not the right word because it was such a haunting song in Das Boot that they would play too. But yeah, it really did have that claustrophobic feel and that really dark edge to it. Didn't pull any punches and was brutally honest. Again, it kind of makes you think about the movie when you're done with it, and kind of illustrates how the Soviet Union took all these measures to cover up their embarrassment in the moment, but 20 years later, 10 years later, you're going to have these movies be made about it, and then the whole world as a whole is going to kind of see the error and missteps of your ways here. If you think about something like Chernobyl, that was really prevalent and prominent with the new series that came out on HBO this past year, and the attention that it brought to that incident, the Soviet Union trying to cover up their mistakes back in the day, thinking, they would be able to do so, but then something, on as grand a scale as HBO miniseries comes along and gets the highest scores of any television series of all time, and everyone looks at it now, what would it be, 30, 40 years later. So this was kind of the same boat, and as Kyle just posted the link to the lady being subdued with sedative in the crowd. The Soviet, well, it wouldn't have been the Soviet Union in 2000, but Russia trying to cover up their missteps here, kind of put on full display in this film. Has a very dark and somber ending. I didn't necessarily like the very final scene. It was kind of clunky with the boy receiving the watch. I don't know. They could have did something a little bit more impactful. Actually, they almost could have just ended it in the church when everyone denies shaking the hand of Petrenko, played by Max von Sydow. Then he kind of storms out of the church after the kids kind of take a stand and deny shaking his hand. But it was a little clumsy of a final scene, but everything else in the movie I really liked. There was that human connection. I knew they were going to do something of kind of the impact back home when I saw that Léa Seydoux was in it. It kind of reminded me of like Submerged or Grey Lady Down, where they kind of cut back to the women back home. This was way more successful than those two movies, though. Submerged, if you remember, was the one with the mumps and lungs guy, played by Sam Neill, Swede Mumpson, and it kind of felt really tacked on in that movie to have the women back home, and I think it was because the story was so thin on that one. This one, it did feel very well acted of the people back home, and it really, again, it had that element of what Russia was doing to cover up the incident, and there was actually some dynamism and excitement to it, and so as a whole, the whole movie kept me captivated, not just the submarine action, which was a 10 out of 10 for me as well, Kyle. So the whole movie, I think it was a solid showing. I am surprised by how low the IMDb score is as well. And again, maybe it is just that American audience thing. They want something, fun and uplifting, and this is certainly not that. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would recommend it to all of our listeners and submarine fans and aficionados out there. I'm going to give this, once again, another great score to match and rival what I gave last week's movie. We're finally firing on all cylinders here. I'm going to give this an 8.5.
Was it an 8.5? Is that right?
That's an 8.5.
Wow.
All right.
Zach, do you want to go first, or should I go next?
I'll go. So,
Okay.
not much new things to say. Let me look at my notes real fast. I don't know why I wrote that. That didn't make any sense. So,
Good one.
yeah, you guys said this was refreshing. I missed last week, but it was good to watch an actual full-fledged submarine movie again. It was good to be in the sub, down deep, in the water with men. It was good stuff. And I didn't realize, I think until about 20 minutes in, that this was like based on a true story. So then I looked it up, and then I probably shouldn't have, because I think I would have enjoyed it more not knowing anything about this situation, this crisis that happened. But it was good, I thought the acting was great. Kyle, you said the visuals, it just looked good. I thought the scene when the sub was, underwater and those explosions. I think it's like when it was, they're like, the temperature can't get above like 185. And it was like at 600, and then it just all shut off. So then it was 12 seconds later, and they just all blew up. And they did that sweet shot from outside of the sub, and it showed like the water clouds go like, it was awesome. So
And those implosions on those explosions are pretty darn cool.
They were sweet. It was really cool. I liked it. I would never watch it again knowing what happened, because it doesn't leave you, it doesn't leave you happy. I mean, for a comedy, it kind of missed the mark for me. So with that, I'm going to give this movie.
Yeah, there was a joke in there. I guess it is a comedy, isn't it? The
Polar bear joke.
bear
I said it twice, actually.
I'm going to give this movie a solid, for a submarine movie, 7.4.
All right. And time for me to finish it up. I'm going to come the lowest of all of us. I was going to come in at a 7. Now, I like this movie. I enjoyed the thrills and chills that I got while watching it. I didn't totally understand the direction they went with it. I guess it was because I did kind of know the story of it. So as I was watching it, I was like, I'm confused. I thought this was supposed to be more about how the Russian government didn't communicate and misled the wives of these sailors who tragically died. Like, that's weird. Why are we sitting here on this boat watching people who are going to die in like just a couple hours? And they kind of stretched that out in kind of a way that made it very strange. I thought I think I agree with Brom that probably this has been the most successful in kind of expressing that that kind of the feeling of the people who are home, kind of wanting answers or information about those that are trapped in the submarine. But I feel like they could have done that in a way that was even more impactful, because that is truly the impact of the story, is kind of how they were misled. And it ends up being kind of a minor part of what we were shown. Even though I think the most powerful scenes, the two most powerful scenes in the film, are both of those. But we really focus a lot on the people in the submarine, when the reality is, the truth is that they probably didn't survive very long at all. And so it really was more about, it wasn't necessarily about whether they could or could not have been rescued. The fact is they probably couldn't have been, just given all the facts, but more about the fact that the Russian government tried to not give out the information to the people who probably deserved to know what was going on. And so I don't know, that kind of like spoiled it for me, and maybe knowing the story made it so that it didn't work as much for me. So I think I agree with Zach in the fact that like knowing more about it probably isn't the best for this movie. Better to go in fresh and just kind of enjoy it more as a fictional depiction of an event rather than like a historical perspective or whatever. Because even the book isn't much about that, the fact whether they could be rescued or not. So that's my take on it.
Knowing
I do think
is a kind of tenuous term here, though, in some capacity, because we don't really know what the truth is just because of the nature of what you're talking about, how we've been misled.
That was a big part of the book, because a huge part of the book is kind of the scientific basis for why he believes that what had happened. But what he believes happened, even according to the book, is they survived for 6 to 8 hours, which wasn't even like by the time the first time they were rescuing from the Diehl, or trying their first rescue, it was like 36 hours later or something. Okay. So I mean, they would have been dead for over a day by the time they got down there. And so even the most kind of ambitious estimates would have said they maybe could have survived a day. But obviously we saw what the submarine was like. It was very difficult to imagine that they would have been able to survive for very long in a submarine that was that damaged. But anyways, I mean, this is all kind of besides the point in the end. I mean, I think as a movie, and why I still give it a 7, I think it's very good and it's intense, and you get some really good scenes with those families. And what's her name? Léa
Seydoux.
Léa Seydoux. Yeah, she was really good. I think she was very impressive in her role. So maybe that's part of it as well. I was kind of wishing that she had more of a role, because I think she gave the 2 best scenes in the entire movie, and yet she only really got 2 scenes to do it. And then, yeah, as Kyle mentioned too, you have someone like Colin Firth who basically doesn't get to do anything. So kind of strange in that regard. But yeah, that's mine. I come in at a 7. Lowest of the bunch, but still a solid score, and I think an overall solid score for the movie.
Yeah, overall we're coming in at a 7.77. So it is a good rating. Yeah. Certainly higher than what most of the other people are saying about it.
Right.
Oh, it's worth watching.
That was one thing I did want to mention, is that probably, like you guys are saying, oh, it's because American audiences. I think probably that low IMDb score is more having to do with Russian ratings on IMDb.
So now we need to fight Russian bots on IMDb?
Yes, probably.
Wikipedia, now IMDb. What's next?
The world.
Great.
All right. Should I get into some trivia and stuff?
Yeah.
I'm gonna blast through this. So Vladimir Putin was supposed to be a character in the film, but they cut it even before they cast the actor. So they originally, the idea was that it was supposed to be mostly about the politics. Is kind of what I'm saying. Is like that seemed to be the focus of the book and what you would naturally think the focus of the movie would be. But Luc Besson decided to shift the story to the possible rescue mission rather than that portion of the story. And so they cut Vladimir Putin from the script. It was interesting because I don't think he's ever been depicted in a major film like that. So it would have been kind of a interesting thing to have an actor portray Vladimir Putin. And it's kind of the conspiracy theory with that is that they didn't want to get hacked. So they cut Vladimir Putin. And one of the things that's actually kind of interesting is that Putin was depicted very favorably in the book because he had just become the president of Russia at the time the disaster happened, and his father was a submariner. And so he even did like a lot of stuff on the ground with the rescue and stuff like that. Like he was in press conferences and doing a lot of stuff because his father was a submariner.
Now, was this about the same time where he was, shirtless with the leather vest type Putin?
Probably, I think. I mean, it was only 8 months.
Okay.
Yeah, he had only been president for 8 months. I think that's around the time when he was shirtless on a horse.
Did he also let a tiger out of a cage at that time, or was that a lot later? I think I remember something about that.
It's probably around the time you're thinking.
Okay, all right. I'm going to look it up. I'll let you guys know.
Okay. So this is one of Michael Nyqvist's final film. He died of lung cancer in 2017, a month before shooting was finished, although he had already completed all his scenes. Interesting just to the people who kind of helped with the film. One was Robert Moore, who wrote the novel. David Russell, Commodore British Royal Navy, who I think he was the one who was Colin Firth was playing. And then the submarine expert, Ramsby Martin, who also advised for the book. And then several scenes were filmed on a real submarine that were redatable. It's a French submarine and now a museum. And they didn't really want to use it because French submarines look much different than Russian submarines, but they were able to make enough modifications to make it passable for a couple of the kind of long shots they wanted to do, kind of going through the corridors and stuff like that, these tracking shots, to make it kind of usable for that. And then it was originally supposed to be like a purely American film with American cast. And so Rachel McAdams was originally supposed to be Tanya. But when they
seriously,
when
this movie,
when they shifted over to being more of a European cast, they changed it. And then this might be of interest to you guys: a video game, Kursk, by Jujubee, was released on October 11th, 2018.
Ooh, what? By Jujubee?
Yeah. So get ready for that. And then no one was going to do.
Dude, it's 90%. Is it 90% off right now?
Probably everything's 90% off right now.
It's $1.99. Oh yeah.
On what, Steam?
Yes. Look at. I don't even. What is this? You're in like a hotel. All right, we're getting it. Whatever.
What's it called?
Kursk.
Steam? Just that's it on Steam? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And then do people want to do a Jeopardy real quick?
I haven't experienced this Jeopardy yet. I want to.
Do it. Okay, so which ones you get to choose a category. You either get to choose the category a watery grave, and Alex said at that point, we'll name the vessel, you tell us where it lies, or the type of transport.
I vote for type of transport, but
I don't care.
Type of transport.
Okay, type of transport. Kyle, since you were the big time loser last time, you get to go first.
Great.
200, 400, 600, 800, or 1,000?
1,000. Let's go. Let's do it.
Named for a New York City borough president, the Guy V. Molinari.
That's it. That's the only thing I've got.
You got to tell us the type of transport.
A blimp.
Merp.
Sorry, what is a blimp?
Merp. So how do we decide who goes next? Let's go, Zach.
I got to buzz in.
You got to
buzz in.
So, you got to buzz in? Who does anyone want to buzz in for 1,000? Try to steal for 1,000?
No.
Guy V. Molinari. I'll say a jet.
Merp. All right. So Zach, good choice not to buzz in. All right, Kyle, you still got the board. Where do you want to go?
Oh my gosh. I got to try to recover now. 800.
What was the answer?
Kursk. Oh, it was a ferry boat.
Oh, okay.
A ferry boat.
So 800, the Kursk, doomed in 2000.
What is a submarine?
Yep.
Here we go. Okay, move on to some. I'm at negative 200.
Yeah. So I'm going to skip over to Brom. No, wait. I guess
Hi there.
You make Zach go last, huh?
How do we go? Yeah, how do we even choose?
I don't care. I don't know what this is. I mean, I know what it
Me
is.
neither.
Dude, hey, there's a board game Kursk also here. Sorry, it's off topic, but
I should have had someone else pick.
It's very much on topic, Kyle.
Brom, which one do you want?
600.
The Southwest Chief and Ethan Allen Express.
Train.
Yes. Zach, 200, 400.
400.
The LZ-129, doomed in 1937.
What have the other answers been again?
Submarine, train, and
submarine, and ferry boat.
I'm going to say airplane. Damn.
Does anyone want to steal? LZ-129.
I'm going to pass.
What year was it?
1937. Like, is a good clue.
I want to say blimp again, but I don't know.
Are you going to or no?
Blimp.
Blimp is incorrect. It is a Zeppelin, a different type of transport.
That would definitely count.
No, it wouldn't, because I'm seeing here right now. So they record all the answers they've given online. Rachel answered, "What is a blimp?" Incorrect. Therese came in and said, "What is a Zeppelin?" and got it correct. Not corrected. They would list it if it was corrected too. That is it. A blimp is not a Zeppelin.
What am I at now? -600?
Oh yeah, you're horrible. Don't worry about it. Oh, actually, wait. That is actually a very important point, right? Yeah, because you're now Zach still in the lead? That's very confusing. This is all very confusing now.
I missed one question for 400.
Yeah, I think you're tied right now. -400, -400, -600. I think that's right.
We're all tied?
I think so.
All right.
So who gets to go now? Oh boy, this is tough. I guess I've got to go Brom. I guess that's
champion?
Yeah, Brom.
All right, give me 200.
The $1.7 billion endeavor.
The $1.7 billion endeavor?
Yeah.
I'll say cruise ship.
Who wants to steal?
Buzz.
Do it.
What is a space shuttle?
True, and this is tie. It's -400 all around.
Oh, yes!
It worked like a charm. So the other category, watery graves, would have given you different ships and where they were resting. So one was Titanic. It would have been Atlantic Ocean. One was USS Arizona. Anyone got that one? USS Arizona.
Battleship.
Pacific or a Hawaii? What?
Yeah,
Pearl
good
Harbor?
one. Pearl Harbor.
Okay.
Yeah. USS Maine. Remember the Maine. You got to remember it. That is Havana Harbor, because it was part of the Spanish-American War, the impetus for the Spanish-American War. And we have Kursk, and this is actually a very difficult one.
Isn't it the Barents Sea or no?
Barents Sea, yeah, but there was a triple stumper in Jeopardy.
Really?
Yeah. And then SS Edmund Fitzgerald.
Lake Erie?
That's Lake Superior.
Lake Superior. Look at this. See, Kyle, you should pick this one. You would have crushed it.
I should have, man. What the heck?
Yeah, you knew all kinds of ones. All right. So that was our little trivia. It was fun. Don't worry about it. And so now a little casting what ifs. So it's the command. So I'm going to do other ones that were commanding. What about Charlton Heston in the 10 Commandments? I mean, he's a good Max von Sydow.
What did we see him in? What was he in Grey Lady Down?
Grey Lady Down is Charlton Heston, yeah.
At this point, he'd be really old.
Yeah.
Or has he already passed away?
I believe he's deceased.
Okay. Well,
although I've said that multiple times on this podcast about people who are still alive. So, what about Russell Crowe, Master and Commander? Also deceased. No, that's not right. You want Russell Crowe as our main man, McCall?
I mean, I can see it. Face.
Well, wait, hold on a second.
Gladiator Russell Crowe.
Because I got Steven Seagal, General Commander, coming up next. So you may want to hold the phone.
All right, there is that one scene where Mikhail has to choke the dude out.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think Seagal would be funny, just to watch him do that. But he'd probably ruin this movie, right?
He's just like a side, like periphery character. But then they bring him in, like, oh shit, we need someone that can choke somebody out. Get in here, and he comes in and chokes that guy out.
I saw Steven Seagal walking down the street.
What about Matthew Lillard? I feel like he's a Leo. Matthew Lillard.
He's in
the wing. He's in Wing Commander. No, Leo, the guy who screws it up.
Sorry, you cut out. Leo. Yeah, I could see him as Leo.
And then,
I don't even know who that is. Honestly.
You don't know who Matthew Lillard is?
Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Matthew Lillard is
13 Ghosts.
A national treasure. So starring Nicolas Cage. All right.
Oh, okay.
What? Oh, you just looked him up. I thought you got it from me calling him a national treasure. I was like, I'm not sure how that helped.
He's the Marlon Brando of our generation, Kyle.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Okay.
Then what about Ed Harris? Now, he was in a film called Demanding Commander. He played a demanding commander, commanded to reprimand a randy rebel commander. He landed near a manned command post and demands the command to be handed over. But the randy commander demands he unhands him in the misunderstanding. He simply planned to expand the bandstand, causes bland. It's a bit canned and ham-fisted, but on brand for a demanding commander film, you know?
What's happening right now?
Was it the sequel to V for Vendetta?
It was a demanding commander, starring Ed Harris.
Ed would be... He would have been Vladimir Putin.
I was going to say it. I had that already written on my thing. I said, Ed Harris, he is Vladimir Putin.
He does have that kind of look, you know?
It's true. He's got that Putin. He's got that Putin look. That's what they always say. They say, Ed Harris, he's got that Putin look.
Yeah, that's what they say.
That's what they say. So everyone's saying it. All right. That's it. That's all I got. I talked for an hour. It's fine.
All right. Good job.
Good job, Jamie.
Proud of you.
We're not doing news,
Thanks,
right?
guys. No, we're not doing news because Zach found a news article about Kursk that was lame.
I'll do a quick one. I got a small one.
Okay.
It's pretty straightforward. It's from navalnews.com by Xavier Vavasor. How the coronavirus is impacting Europe's main naval shipbuilders? So this is just a short little article that was released on March 13th that just talked about how, because of the virus, because of the shutdowns, parts aren't getting into their naval yard in order for them to build these Isaac Pearl class S-80 type submarines in its shipyard, I guess, right now. So these they're currently building these. They're supposed to launch in December 2022. Now they're worried that they're not going to be able to meet that deadline. So there you go.
Good stuff. There's no Phantom Zone, Jamie?
Oh, sorry. Well, one of the things is with the Phantom Zone, and we can do Phantom Zone real quick, is that last week with Wolf's Call, I did my first ever Phantom Zone using Kursk / the command. And so we kind of already just did it. So it wasn't particularly interesting.
Oh, okay. All
yeah.
right, fine.
I just went through it. Yeah. But you can still put my theme. You can still put my theme song in there.
Yeah, and then just talk about how it's not
Actually,
worth it.
could you put it in a second time right now?
Okay, yeah, we'll do that.
Great, thanks.
Okay, Brom, do you have a countdown for us tonight?
I do have a countdown. Tube 3 ready to fire, sir.
Commence the countdown.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give it to me.
Some would say it's the final countdown for Max von Sydow. Some have called him the greatest actor of his generation, which is very high praise. I would not say that, but he was a tremendous actor, had a very prolific acting career, and we are going to honor him tonight with a few Max von Sydow fun facts. Just 4 of them tonight. I don't know if he wasn't a very fun person, but his facts weren't super enthralling, but regardless, we will still honor him anyway. He did tend to play, some very serious characters. He played a lot of villains. I guess that could be fun fact number 5, is that he actually was frustrated how he was almost always typecast and offered all these roles to be sort of the craggy, cantankerous villain, peering through his heavy sunken eyes with that he's got that unique look to him. Although he has played a few good guys as well, and we'll get into those with the fun facts here. So number 4, we're going to go with Max von Sydow. Had a 70-year career. He never retired from acting, and he appeared in over 150 films and television series.
Wow, 100. You say over 150?
That's a lot.
Over 150 films and television series, yeah. Number 4, he was nominated for 2 Academy Awards for, I think it's Pele, or it might be Pell, Pele the Conqueror, and another Academy Award nomination for Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. I think that was the 9/11 one.
Yeah, that was the one that was later. The other one, I don't think I've ever even heard of. That's crazy.
It's an older one, yeah. I think he said it was his favorite film, too. He was also nominated for 2 Golden Globes for Hawaii and The Exorcist. He played the titular exorcist. He also was nominated for 2 Primetime Emmys for Red King, White Knight and Game of Thrones. He unfortunately never brought home any of this hardware, though. He won some awards abroad, but never won any of the major American awards. Number 2, von Sydow is one of very few actors who have played both God and the devil at various points in his career.
That's right. He played Dead Devil in one of the famous Swedish films, right?
I thought about writing down the names of the movies. I'm like, nobody will even care. But here's Jamie.
Igmar. I think
Wow.
Seven Seal. Seven Seal. Didn't he play the devil in Seven Seal?
He might have played the devil
That's the movie
multiple
I'm
times.
seeing right now.
Seven Seal.
And he played God. I think they're giving him credit because he was Jesus in one of his very early films.
Never mind. He was a medieval knight in Seven Seal. I thought he was like maybe the devil.
Number 1, though, that's a fun one. Most fun fact, and that's why I ranked it number 1. He turned down the opportunity to play Captain Von Trapp in The Sound of Music.
Wow.
Pretty big role to turn down. And he turned down the titular Dr. No in the 007 series.
Wow.
But fear not, Bond fans, he would later become Bond's arch nemesis, Ernst Stavro Blofeld, in Never Say Never Again.
Right. I was going to say, because I just saw him. I think I even maybe used that in one of the Phantom Sons.
I will add a 1A to this. He was actually in one of his films, one of his early ones. It might have been even, I think the one that he played Jesus in. His 2 supporting actors that he was in with it. So all 3 of them played the character Ernst Stavro Blofeld in a 007 movie. Pretty wild.
That is pretty wild.
But those are my Max von Sydow fun facts. Rest in peace, and our condolences to the von Sydow family. Should be very proud of the accomplishments of von Sydow. Tremendous actor.
And a good friend.
Good friend of the show. Wish we could say that. We got to get somebody on here. We got to have like a legitimate friend of the show. I feel like one of these actors and one like a terrible movie. We gotta befriend them.
You can't like lead off with that. We can't say, "Hey, you're on a terrible movie, and we think we can get you to be on our show."
I'm sure someone would be. That would be the most fun friend of the show and guest is someone that can have a laugh at themselves and come on the show.
Yeah, we just got to think. We got to rack our brains and see if we know anyone who's in a submarine movie. Literally anyone.
Michael Dudikoff.
We know him.
Well, we could try to.
That's true. We could talk to him.
If we reached
Michael
out to
Dudikoff.
enough people, we could get one.
Yeah. Let us know, listener. Who do you want on the show? Michael Dudikoff? Sound pretty good?
Did you just say so our listeners are going to be able to pick anybody from any movie we've ever reviewed, and that's who they could?
We gotta get them.
I tried to get what's her name from up Periscope
Oh, yeah, that's right.
or down Periscope rather,
And from Turbulence. She was in Turbulence, too.
and Dumb and Dumber.
Right. Not so she wasn't in Turbulence, too, obviously. She was in Turbulence as well.
But she.
Thank you for clarifying, Jimmy.
All right, we got some Zach facts.
Zach facts. It's Zach facts when you're
When
going
you're going down,
down.
get some Zach
Zach
facts.
facts.
When you're going down.
Submersion remix. Got 3 facts for you. Which number would you like first?
Number 2.
Really? I was going to go 1 just to really,
Really? Come on,
Oh,
man.
just stick it to him.
I'm gonna
He's making me
pick one.
pick all of a sudden?
No, I'm going to pick one for Jamie. Being a smartass. All right. No, just kidding, Jamie. Fact number 1. Out of the 71 children who survived, only 3 would grow up starring in step-sibling fantasy porn.
What?
Good Lord, man.
Wow. I was confused for a second, and now I understand what you were saying.
At the end of the movie, it said 71
and now
children were left.
Now I'm disgusted.
But they grew up. Right? That was a legal Zach fact.
Jeez Louise.
Number 2, Netflix. You guys kind of talked about this. Netflix is releasing a sequel. But you were wrong. It's actually about the wives. And it's called The Command Dress. And they're going to go back down together to recover the bones of their husbands. But things don't quite go their way.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds fun.
Is it a comedy?
It is not. It's a horror film.
Oh.
We're talking werewolves? Ed Harris is just sweeping the floor of the submarine when they get on there.
This is where he's the serial killer janitor.
Serial killer janitor / werewolf. That's right.
Fact number 3. The director, he's a safety nut, so he wanted to make sure all these action scenes were going to be as safe as possible. So he shot the entire movie at first with all mice in place of the actors.
He's going to do the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds me of that movie with Steve Carell, Dinner for Schmucks.
Yeah, like how he dressed up the mice. This was the director dropping mice in a submarine, putting it down in the water, and he just left them. No, I'm not
savage.
I'm not saying the director abuses animals, but I'm just saying,
Yeah. Now, so did he just recreate what the mice did when they were down there and they had one leader mouse who was like, I'm going to swim down through here and try to save us? They didn't do that?
In his interview on Conan O'Brien, he said all the mice ended up tearing each other's heads off. So,
oh, wow.
He could not use that footage.
Somber end to Zach Fox.
That's it.
So, guys, I did put something up on our little thing. Do you see the Jungle Cruise poster?
Yeah.
Do you see the boat? Do you see what's following behind it?
Oh, shit. We got a submarine in a Disney film with The Rock. Zach is at half chub right now, I imagine.
It's full chub.
Whoa,
it's like a
chub?
It's like a sausage link down there.
Thank you for listening to Submersion. Don't forget to subscribe for new episodes every Thursday. If you like what you heard, please leave us a rating wherever you listen. Want to interact with us? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We also love to get messages from all of you. If you have a suggestion, a comment, or just anything you'd like to share, please email us at macestudios@gmail.com.